Yale West Campus is actually home to Yale's second farm. It is called an urban farm. It's worth defining it as an urban farm to start with because of the methods that we use to grow there. We grow in raised beds. We use a lot of the same plants that urban farmers would grow. But that said, the West Campus Urban Farm is situated amongst about 30 acres of green space. So while we have these deer-proof fences that surround the quarter acre on which we grow in urban techniques, we also have a medicinal plant collection on the outskirts of that quarter acre. We have a mushroom growing farm right outside of the fences as well, and we cultivate honeybees as well. We choose to address topics at the West Campus Urban Farm that are complementary to those that are addressed on the main campus Yale Farm. So the Yale Farm is accessible to a lot of undergrads. It has an acre on which to grow wonderful crops and demonstrate certain techniques. What we grow on the West Campus Urban Farm and what we support in terms of research and student groups, we do in connection with the main campus farm. We try to do things out there a little bit differently, demonstrate different techniques, support groups that would need a home that they can't find on the main campus. The West Campus Urban Farm has a wonderful connection with the West Campus dining facility. We have an excellent chef out there who makes use of what we grow at the farm. He'll send me a text message or give me a call 15 minutes before lunch asking for an herb or something we have in abundance to be brought up there. And if I have time, I'll pop right down, pop right back up. And it's a really fun collaboration to have out there. And it really engages a lot of the research community with the fact that we have a farm that's accessible to them.
It's really fun working on the farm with Justin. I've really seen how things go from the seed all the way to the flowering and the producing of the actual fruit of the plants. And then you also see the interaction with the bees pollinating all the plants, and then the bees then producing the honey. And you really get to see how things start out. A lot of times when you get your produce, you don't really see where it came from or how it started out as a seed or something like that. So it really opened my eyes to the whole production of fresh food and things like that.
The vegetables and produce that we grow at the West Campus Urban Farm are chosen both to create new opportunities for collaboration and to, of course, engage people in just coming out to the farm and enjoying themselves. We often I joke about the idea of not growing lots of big tomatoes, but tons of tiny ones as individual units of sugar to entice as many volunteers as possible to come out there, because they can all lead with lots of little units rather than one big one. But beyond that, really, the importance of what we grow is dictated by what types of collaborations can come out of that. So we have this medicinal plant collection that we've been working with the midwifery specialty at the nursing school on curating, collecting, and now processing into different types of medicine that have been used traditionally and are still used in the midwifery practice. The West Campus Urban Farm is surrounded by many acres, dozens of acres actually, of wild green space. It's worth noting that the history of the site, however, is not one of uninterrupted wildness. It's actually relatively recently wild. It was farmland just 40 years ago, and in some ways, this history of human interruption on the landscape is still very much visible. We in turn have the responsibility and in a lot of ways the opportunity to examine what happens when cultivated space starts to go back to wild and where human intervention remains a necessity to keep it healthy. The number of invasive species in the surrounding landscapes necessitates some level of intervention. So while we have an extremely cultivated area in the Yale West Campus Urban Farm, we also have the opportunity to build a gradient of interaction with the landscape. We have an agroforestry project that's just starting up now, where we will work with the natural New England forest but add other untraditional but very useful species, nuts, fruits, berry bushes, all built into the New England landscape, and we'll add them in such a way that they take away habitat from invasive species that would otherwise occupy that habitat. We have the responsibility as an educational institution to explore new solutions, to take on these problems which you find across the region and see how you can propose and test new solutions on the landscape.